Call the January 8th meeting of the School Board of St. Lucie County to order and issue warm welcomes to all of you and Happy New Year. We're delighted to have you with us tonight. We're delighted to be back at work, and all of our children returned to school sites today, and there was a lot of excitement in the air to start the second half of our school year. So if you would please join with me as we say the pledge and then the Kids at Hope pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our Kids at Hope Treasure Hunter pledge. As an adult and a treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talents, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. And now we're fortunate enough to have the dance team from Treasure Coast High School under the direction of Amber Salo. And I'll invite the board members to come down so that we can enjoy from the perspective of the floor. before you all get away and sit down. I know we have family members and friends in the audience of these delightful entertainers. If you would stand, please, so that we can recognize all of you. I know. Oh, they all, well, I saw some coming in late, so, yes, absolutely. Fantastic interpretation, ladies. You did a magnificent job and are a prime example of why this board believes in arts in our schools. The message you delivered tonight, combined with the song and the dance, was just outstanding, so thank you. And thank your family and friends, even though they're not here tonight, that you have a good evening. Thanks. We'll now open the public hearing scheduled for this evening about the proposed adoption of amendments to the school board policy number 7.70. Mr. Superintendent, could we have your recommendation?
I recommend the board adopt the proposed amendments to school board policy number 7.70 as submitted.
This is a public hearing. Are there any in the audience that wish to address this amendment? Seeing none, board members, we have received the recommendation. Do I have a motion to accept? Thank you, Dr. Mills. A second? Thank you, Mr. Ingersoll. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And we close the public hearing and move now to our special orders of business. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll ask Carrie Patrick to come up, and we have a few presentations this evening, and ask the board again to head on down to the floor, and we will recognize folks and congratulate them as well.
Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Gent, as you make your way to your seats to your stations in the front, it is my pleasure to invite Miss Sunny Booker, who is a proud member of St. Lucie Public Schools, as well as the president of the Bluebird Education Foundation. She is going to share some great news with you about how the district and our community partners do continue to promote the arts in education.
Good evening, Superintendent, Madam Chair, board members. Bluebird Education Foundation is a not-for-profit 501c3 that serves St. Lucie County and provides musical instruments and musical experiences for our youth. Bluebird is pleased to present these instruments as part of our Recycling in the Key of E initiative, where together with the community, our foundation purchases or receives through donation gently used instruments, upcycles them so students may enjoy their own personal musical instrument, even if financially challenged. It is the goal of the Bluebird Foundation to support their love of music and to be successful students in St. Lucie Public Schools. I want to thank my fellow board members, Vice President Brian Welling and board member Zach Jones, who will be handing out the instruments as I call the students up to receive them. Jason Albert is one of our board members who was supposed to be doing this evening, but he is in Tampa directing at the State Music Education Foundation, something very important, and doing a great job, and he's there. So we do have today Miss Laura Hopkins, who is the orchestra teacher from LPA, who has some of her students. I will ask her to come, and we do have some music to receive. And then we'll be calling the students. Students, when you hear your name, you'll come, and the board members will hand you your instruments. Principals, if you're here and you'll come when your student's school is called, we'd like to have you up here as well. Dawson Holmes, a ninth grade orchestra student from LPA, he will be receiving a new cello. Jason Lee, a sixth grade student from LPA, will be receiving a violin. Ramia Campbell, a 6th grade orchestra student from LPA, will also be receiving a violin. Chantel Tabana, a 7th grade orchestra student from LPA, will be receiving a violin. And please stay up here, students, with your instruments. Anaya Arma, a 7th grade student from LPA, will be receiving a trombone. Colby Hutchins is a 6th grade student from Forest Grove, and he'll be receiving a flute. And I'm not sure if this student is here, Brielle Cafaro from Southport Middle School. She's in 8th grade, will be receiving a clarinet. So if her principal is here, or anybody from Southport. Brielle did not know that because this was a very last-minute score. We're excited about that. These instruments, and go that way so we can get you all in the picture. We are a very small board, but like most musicians, we know how to have the most fun. Our biggest fundraiser of the year is coming up January 26th. It's a Saturday. It's Groovin' and Tastin', and it's on top of the Fort Pierce parking garage. So if you want to help us get instruments, we do encourage you to come. It's a fantastic time. I have tickets tonight if you want to see me.
We are so excited about our wonderful community partners, and our partners come in many shapes and forms. This evening, we are also so very pleased to introduce you to a powerhouse advocate for students in need. His name is Mr. Lenny Smallacombe of the Fort Pierce Elks Lodge number 1520, and he is accompanied this evening by his beautiful bride, Barb. What started out as a 6 years ago as a weekend backpack program for 5 children, initiated, I may say, by Miss Carolyn Wilkins, this has turned into an ever-growing platform of support for our schools and for our students. Mr. Smallacombe and his fellow lodge members have expanded their weekend food backpack program to hundreds of children, fulfilled special program needs, provided complimentary summer camp opportunities for our students, has written grants worth thousands to fund literacy programs in our district, and has supported students' families' nutritional needs during special times of the year as well. Lenny and his team have greatly impacted our schools, and for that, we are so very appreciative and welcome this opportunity to present him with a special award to recognize the significant and most appreciated partnership. And as always, with Mr. Smallacombe, there's more to come, so we will be reporting back, I am sure, in the coming months. Next, it is our pleasure to discuss with you the Golden and Silver School Awards. The Florida Department of Education presents the Golden and Silver School Awards to recognize exemplary programs which promote parent and community involvement in education. The Golden School Award recognizes elementary and secondary schools and who meet the following criteria, and that is on the overhead. A minimum of 80% of the school staff participate in training related to school volunteerism. A school volunteer coordinator is designated to recruit and train and supervise school volunteers, and the number of hours of volunteer service equals twice the number of students enrolled in the school. The Silver Award is presented to recognize secondary schools that meet the following criteria. The school must have a volunteer coordinator who provides coordination of program, placement of students, and training. And student volunteers and faculty must both receive this orientation and training, and the schools must meet a specified number of volunteer hours. We have a wonderful individual who spearheads and coordinates our district's volunteer efforts, and that is Ms. Martha Underwood, and she will do the honors of sharing this year's gold and silver awards.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, and Superintendent Gent. Happy New Year. It is that time of the year again that we recognize our schools for receiving the Gold and Silver School Awards for 2018. Each school receiving these awards fulfill the criteria for each award. Please direct your attention to the big screen in front of you, and we will first do the Silver School Award recipients. Please come forward for a picture, and congratulations to all. Silver School Awards. If you have a Silver School Award, it will be paper clipped to your golden. That would be middle schools, K-8, and high schools. Did you get my email? Oh, you got the K-8. Okay, with the rest of the Golden School Awards, please direct your attention to the big screen in front of you. The Golden School Awards are listed on the big screen. This would be elementary schools with K-8, high schools, and middle schools. Please come forward for your picture. Congratulations. This is going to be a big one.
Hey, gorgeous. How
Hey,
are you?
honey. How you doing? You got my email? I did. Thank you. I know. All right.
Martha.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. I can see Mr. Lowe.
And now we have one more presentation that will conclude our special orders, and that is our Star Award. This is a very special award for those in our district who go above and beyond. And this evening, we would like to honor Mr. Stephen Malpass. According to administrators and staff at Lakewood Park Elementary, they recognize that Mr. Malpass works for the St. Lucie Public Schools Maintenance Department, but they feel he is more like a part of their Lakewood Park Falcon family. He is always such a tremendous help and always has a smile on his face. His positive attitude and willingness to do whatever he can, whenever he can, make him a tremendous asset to their school and certainly to the St. Lucie Public Schools District. Mr. Malpass, we thank you for all you do and for always going above and beyond.
Just an observation, but Martha, when you're in the house, all the principals come. So you now have to come every time. You're the good drawing card. Thank you for all you do. This time we'll have a report from our CTA representative. And welcome to the podium, Mr. Freeland. Nice to have you with us tonight.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Superintendent Gent. First of all, Happy New Year. I hope you all had a great start to the new year. I know that we did. We're only a few days into it, but so far, so good. I want to take some time to talk about something that's going to impact us well into this new year and likely the next several years, and that would be the underfunding of traditional public schools by legislators in Tallahassee. Some sobering statistics here. Currently, Florida ranks 44th nationally in education spending. We rank 45th in the nation in teacher pay and 47th in the nation in staff professional pay. Fewer new teachers are entering the profession, and experienced teachers are leaving the classroom at the highest rate since 2001. We are facing an unprecedented teacher shortage in the state, and St. Lucie will be competing with other school districts in Florida and the nation to recruit and retain highly qualified educators from an ever-shrinking pool of applicants. A statewide crisis like this is one that's created by legislators in Tallahassee. It's not a local problem. If it was, we would be the only ones with it. I want to make that clear. And the situation does not appear to be changing anytime soon. Our neighbors have realized this, and over 20 local referendums were passed this last November to address these issues locally. To compete and to continue the success our students have enjoyed over the past few years, our community must do the same. Failure to invest in our public schools does not impact just our students and their families. A strong system of traditional public schools is a driver of economic success for the community. This is not a call to stop the fight in Tallahassee for the kind of funding great public schools need, deserve, and is called for by our state constitution. The St. Lucie CTACU, FEA, and our teachers and staff professionals will never give up that fight because it directly impacts our students. However, in the meantime, we need to step up locally and be sure that we provide the resources that students and educators in St. Lucie County need to continue the work we have started for every student, every day. CTACU is ready to discuss how we can help move a referendum forward. I look forward to lobbying our new legislative delegation on this and other issues of mutual concern side by side with the school district. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Do we have a report from CWA tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to our consent agenda. Board members, could I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented? Thank you, Ms. Hensley. Second, Dr. Mills. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Superintendent, might we have your recommendation?
The board approved the consent agenda as submitted.
Board members, are there any items that you wish to pull for separate vote or discussion? Hearing none, I would receive a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Hilson. Second by Mr. Ingersoll. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0. And we now move to the report from our superintendent. Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you. Good evening to everyone, and Happy New Year as well. We had a board workshop this morning, and I thought it was very fruitful. This afternoon, I had the opportunity, along with Ms. Hensley, to go to the Economic Development Council, and got 5 minutes to speak. There were different agencies that were giving their State of the State address, or what had happened during the course of the year. I took more time than was allocated, but it did it for free, so it all came out even. Number one, as we presented this morning to the school board, next month we will recognize our high schools and the tremendous job they've done with their graduation rates. We again went up. With our comprehensive high schools, we'll have a graduation rate of 96.5%. We will show data. We'll show it to the principals this week. We shared it to the board earlier this morning regarding the steps that we have taken. And the Tri-County area, the top 5 high schools, and the 5 highest graduation rates are right here from St. Lucie County. And then over a 4-year trend, we had some of our schools, Westwood High School, almost a 27% increase, Port St. Lucie High School around 26%. All of our high schools, with the exception of LPA, who was already at a high level, have made double-digit gains. So we've got a nice story to tell there, and we'll recognize our school centers, the principals, and those folks that are responsible for that. The VPK registration, those of you that have children that will be 4 years of age by September 1st, that registration will begin February 12th through the 14th and February 20th through the 21st. If you want more information on that, check out the St. Lucie Public Schools social media or call the Early Childhood Office. We always get a lot of calls in regarding that, so that information will be out there for the VPK and the programs that are offered within our community. So we want parents to make sure they're aware of that and take advantage of that, and please contact us if there are any specific questions. I know that tonight the board will be, before I go there, I want to also recognize that this week, beginning this weekend, Friday night, we'll kick it off. We'll begin the Martin Luther King traditional services and the different activities that go on in the community. I know the board will be in the parade. I believe it's a week, it's not this Monday, right? A week from Monday? Mm-hmm. January 21st. Okay, so it's a week from Monday. And there'll be activities that will begin, and that information has been shared with the board, and the school district always welcomes this time and this opportunity to recognize some of the things that are going on in our communities. The parade is also an event that all of our schools participate in, and so we're looking forward to participation and just a great time and great festivities during this month. The board tonight will be, as we mentioned at our board workshop today, will be voting on a resolution to take forward to our Board of County Commissioners. And for the general public, we will begin a campaign pending the board vote this evening on a referendum similar to what Mr. Freeland talked about a little while ago. It's like he had my notes from this morning. You took very good notes, David. And where, in all seriousness, we're facing an issue here in our county, particularly, but in the state of Florida, from underfunding that we are going to have to do some things. We've turned the district. We're going in a very positive direction. But in order to maintain that, in order to maintain this positive momentum, this all starts with the teachers in the classrooms and what they do and the relationships that they develop. The most important thing we do is what happens in that classroom between the children and their teachers, or the young folks and their teachers. And we've got a quality workforce, a high-quality workforce. We do face an issue with recruitment and retaining teachers, not only in St. Lucie County, but across the state and across the nation. And we're going to have to step up. As David mentioned, there were 20 referendums that were done in the state of Florida in August and as well as in November. And every one of them passed. Over 12 of them were for operational expenses, which are compensation packages for teachers. Many of them were for security and upgrades in security and upgrades in improving mental health issues and maintaining essential programs. And so this board, we are going to move forward and make our case to our public for a millage increase. Our neighbors to the south have done that. Our neighbors, well, there were 12 counties, but Martin County, Palm Beach, Dade, Miami-Dade, Broward counties, Orange County, several counties across the state have done this, and we're competing for these same teachers. Plus, we could lose teachers. There's an investment when our teachers come into our school district of around $10,000 to $15,000 of training that goes on, and we train our teachers very, very well, and they have no difficulties moving on to other districts. Round ballpark figure in Martin County and Palm Beach County, teachers will get anywhere from $1,800 to $10,000 more a year based on their years of service. I know that teachers with 5 or more years of service will receive a $5,000 supplement. Teachers with 10 or more years will receive a supplement in one county of $7,800 and in another county of $10,000. And so we have got to be able to compete. And this community in the past has always shown a willingness to support public education. It will be incumbent upon us, this board, myself, our administrators, to go out and make our case and to educate our public on that. So I want to commend the board for the action that they're going to take tonight. We'll do some training for everyone, and then we will be campaigning heavily for the next 3 months and make our case to the public. And if we do it the right way and educate and communicate will be the key, I have no doubt that we'll be successful in that effort. So we'll be looking forward to this event and to this occasion, which I think is going to be a milestone in the history of our county, as well as benefiting our teachers. There will be security. We'll need to enhance and improve our security. As I mentioned today, we'll be talking this week with our Director of Security and reviewing the recommendations that are coming down from the Parkland Task Force. Many of the things that we already do, we work closely with our local law enforcement. We've congratulated Sheriff Mascara for putting officers in every school last year during the massacre at a tremendous expense to him and sacrifice on some other areas. They did it again this year, and the county commission has also stepped up and helped us with that. But that's a task that the entire community needs to be involved in. Mental health is another issue where we receive dollars from the state, and we're so grateful for those dollars, but they're just really a drop in the bucket. So we really just need to follow, not really follow, but join our other districts to show folks that public education is important to us, that maintaining safe schools, that fairly compensating our teachers and staff members, and in preserving essential programs are important to us. So that will be what we'll be focusing in on for the next 4 months. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harrell, do you have a report?
No item. Madam Chair, unless there is some question regarding the operational millage election, and I would simply point out, as I've discussed with you, it's my understanding that the superintendent intends to recommend an election referendum by mail ballot. That being the case, it would be appropriate for the board, after adopting the resolution, to further authorize confirming with the supervisor of elections and the Board of County Commissioners that a mail ballot would be used for the election. Thank you.
Mr. Harrell. Board members, we do have the proposal before us for the referendum to levy a millage for operational needs of the school district. Mr. Superintendent, could we have your recommendation?
I recommend the board adopt the resolution for referendum election to levy a millage for operational needs of the school district.
Board members, do I have a motion?
Second.
Any conversation before we take the final vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And as our attorney has recommended, I will ask that the superintendent provide his recommendation whether the operational millage referendum should be held by mail ballot or by precinct-based election.
I recommend that the operational millage referendum be held by mail ballot election.
I will now entertain a motion that the board authorize the use of mail ballots for the operational millage referendum election and confirm such authorization to the supervisor of elections and the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you, Ms. Hensley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Hilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Madam Chair, if I can just comment on that, because I left that out of my comments, and I know that we will be sharing that information. But what we want to ensure is that we get the maximum amount of votes and voters that come out during this time and research. And it's a new day. In the last election cycles for the last 2 years, more people vote by mail and early ballots than actually coming to the polling. And so what we're going to do, we're going to be footing the bill for this special election. And so we want to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and we feel like that we're going to get much more participation through a mail-in ballot. Those that don't trust the mail will still have an opportunity to fill their ballots out and to take those to the four voter offices that are located around the county. Ms. Walker's Supervisor of Elections has their main office on Okeechobee Road up in Fort Pierce. They have a site in Walton Road. They have a site in St. Lucie West at the County Administration Building, and the new site will be in Tradition at the new Tax Collector's Office. So this information will be shared with everyone on how this will work. But this is really an attempt to save dollars as well as get maximum voters out to help support the vote, however they choose to do that. Hopefully it will be to support public education, but we feel like that this will give us the most chances to everyone has an opportunity to participate, and the most precious right we have is that to vote and to have a say in the affairs that go on not only nationally but locally as well. And so that's the rationale behind that. We explained that this morning as well at our board workshop. That is televised for folks that would like to go back and look at that in more detail, and then we'll be again communicating that to the public as we go out and make our case. Thank you.
Mr. Superintendent, you might want to reiterate the term as well as when the final date
Correct.
is for this. Thank you.
It'll be as mandated by state statute, it would be a 4-year term. It would be 4 years, and it cannot go any longer than 4 years. And so it would be something that would go for 4 years, and then within 3 or 4 years, you'd come back and see where we are. I would have a good track record to see whether that would continue, but it would be for a 4-year referendum.
And oversight will be provided how?
There'd be an oversight by, oversight by an independent oversight committee made up of citizens of the community to make sure that every dollar that goes to where we say it would go. And that, again, is a safeguard to help preserve the programs. There could not be myself or any school board member or members of my cabinet or principals that would try to lobby for additional dollars here or there. All of this money would be reviewed by, and the expenditures by an oversight committee, to ensure that our dollars are spent wisely and accurately. And that's been done across the state. I've had personal experience in that as well, as I explained to the board, and it is a very good checks and balances, if you will, for our community to assure them, to reassure them. Also, the packages, as I mentioned this morning too, the financial packages for teachers would be negotiated with our union partners. And so we'll have conversations regarding that as well.
Thank you. And we are under, a tight timeline with this, with April 23rd of this year being the election day, when the results will be tabulated and received. And this is really quite intentional on the part of the board because we want to be able to begin our new fiscal year on July 1, knowing whether we have this to help us with our financial shortfalls. And this is also another great opportunity to exercise our local control and to say to our fellow members and to the state legislative body that public education is very, very important in St. Lucie County, so much so that we are willing to take on this special referendum in order to take care of our teachers better, to provide better security, look after the mental health needs of our children, which is becoming more and more prevalent. So we're under a tight guideline, but we are ready. We are excited about working with our union partners moving forward on this as well, and engaging the entire community to send the message that public education is very, very important to St. Lucie County residents. We appreciate your support in that as well. All right, board members, comments? Ms. Hilson?
No.
No comments? Ms. Hensley?
Of course, Madam Chair. The Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments will be in February talking about our legislative priorities for 4 counties. Our priorities have been shared with the group. There seems to be a willingness to take on several school board issues as regional issues for counties and municipalities, so we will find out how that goes the first week of February. Also, when we talked about all the arts in school, the Children's Services Council's annual concert at the Sunrise Theater with our after-school programs, it was a packed house. The breadth the programs is pretty astounding. We're going to try to push to have more after-school programs incorporate some type of art in their programming. We had drama, poetry, drum lines, vocals, band, quite a nice variety, and we're going to try to encourage more of that in our after-school programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hensley. Dr. Mills?
We spoke about the millage rate and the need to do the special elections. And it's extremely important that we understand that we have other counties that we have to compete with. And we have been doing an excellent job in increasing our district school grade and our graduation rate. As I look at something that I have in front of me, I'm very happy to see that in the last 4 years, we've gone from 75% graduation to over 90%, 91% now graduation, as well as our grades. You have done an incredible job from the administrators to the principals to the teachers to the janitors and everybody else that played a part, the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers. Our school family has done a tremendous job, but we got to compete with our surrounding counties, and if we don't, we can lose some really good people to these counties. So it is extremely important to me that we really seriously look at being able to give raises, especially to our teachers, and keep our schools safe, et cetera, and the mental health as well. I want to also congratulate Bluebird Education Foundation, the students that received the gifts of music from them, as well as Mr. Lenny Smallcomb. Thank you for your contribution to St. Lucie County School District. We appreciate you and Barbara very much. So I want to also make an announcement, and also congratulations to our golden and our silver schools. I want to make a little more thorough announcement for the Martin Luther King dates. The title is The Legacy of Justice, Peace, and Equality. From a letter from Birmingham jail in Alabama, King says, whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And so we ask you to participate in the different programs. If you could find just one program, they have so many events going on, a calendar of events. They start on January 11th, the Week of Kindness. January, after that, on that same day, is opening reception on January the 11th. And then they go into the Youth Symposium on January the 12th. They do the Martin Luther King Spelling Bee, which is will be held at Lincoln Park Academy, and that's our students throughout the district. And then Saturday, they will have an adult spelling bee. We may have some very good spellers out there. Get involved in that adult spelling bee and have some fun with it. We also will have the MLK Interfaith service, if any of you desire to go to a service, as well as the Candlelight Unity March that will take place on the 14th. We have the NAACP ceremony that will be on the 14th, and also the awards breakfast on January the 19th. And then we have our wreath laying ceremony on the 19th as well. On Monday, the 21st, we will have the Grand Parade, and I know a lot of us participate. I think we're the largest participators as a school district in the parade. So we thank you. If that's all you do, that's wonderful. But if you're not doing that, find something, and I speak to the community at large, find some way that you can be a part of this. Okay, we'll have the festival in the park right after the parade, and then we'll have the health fair on January the 21st in the festival at the park.
Thank you, Dr. Mills. Mr. Ingersoll? No, ma'am, no report. Okay. I would just like to add, January is a very, very busy month, but I want to especially give a shout out to the Port St. Lucie High School Drama Department, who will be producing and delivering their 30th anniversary play, which will be Beauty and the Beast. Tickets are already on sale, and if you've never attended one of their performances, I encourage you to do so. What's really fascinating is that we see children that have been throughout their elementary and middle and high school years that have been in drama, and just to see them reach the culmination under the direction of Patrick Madden it's just really transformational. So I encourage you to find a date that fits your schedule and go and see the production. Beauty and the Beast promises to be spectacular. So we have no other comments. We do have a scheduled speaker to come before us. Miss April Patterson, if you would come to the podium, please. We welcome you back and ask that you state your name and address as usual. But as a scheduled speaker, you will have 5 minutes to speak tonight, and Mr. Harrell will be our timekeeper. Thank you.
Hi. Happy New Year. Superintendent, Madam Chair, board members, welcome back. Initially, I was coming here to discuss some discrepancies that I had with our ESC department and a few other concerns. However, I received some information last week, and then coincidentally this morning, I got an email from the director of the ESC department as well. So I want to review all of that stuff before, coming before you guys and speaking about those matters. But I'm not a no-show kind of person, so I figured I'd still come and say hi. That's it.
We appreciate you doing so.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay, we have no unscheduled speakers to come before us, so we are adjourned.